Detroit Den 313. Steve and Will, we are back. Getting ready to talk that Detroit Lions football. But before we get going, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget that bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. Steve, tell the people what we're doing.
It is Monday morning mock draft. You guys, hopefully you're tuning in while you're on your way to work, while you're waking up, making your coffee, getting ready to go to work. Combine's over. Everyone's thinking, what are the Detroit Lions going to do? We still haven't had free agency, but it is Monday morning mock. What we don't do here at Detroit Den 313 is we do not mock draft people to death. This is our 2.0 version. We only do 3. We'll do this one, and we'll do one sometime around maybe the day before the draft if we can. Post free agency, we'll have a better look at what we're going to do. This draft, for me personally, is based off of what we need right now today. We don't know what's going to happen in free agency, so we can't pretend something's happened that hasn't happened yet. But I'll tell you right now, looking at my mock draft right here next to me, Will, I know what yours is too, and I think there's one controversial pick on your end that I'll say, and you already know what that is, but we're not going to spill the beans. But I like both of our drafts phenomenally. It's kind of the same, but in a way, it's a little different, if that makes sense.
100%.
So, William, it's April 25th. It's around 2:00 in the morning because that's how long these drafts take, especially in person. Detroit's been partying all night. The boys have been pounding beers. Roger Goodell is coming up to the podium. Who's he picking for the Detroit Lions at pick 29? No trades in this mock draft either, real quick.
Yeah, no trades. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
He just ran by. Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy, pick 29. Where this offense is going absolutely bananas. You telling me there's a world where J-Mo, Xavier Worthy are on the same team?
Just those two? You gonna leave out
with Monra St. Brown running around underneath, with Sam Laporta, with Jahmyr Gibbs, with David Montgomery, with the best O-line in football, right? And guys, listen.
Best running backs in football?
Listen. Best 1-2 punch in football, but 29, I couldn't pass at having an opportunity to have Xavier Worthy and J-Mo on the same team. I'm just gonna leave it at that. You guys know what it is. It's all about speed, and more speed.
Here's my question.
Talk to me.
Does Jared Goff got the arm strength to hit some of these fucking guys going down the field? That's my only question with that pick.
Hey, I hate to even use the word because I know that it's going to drive you absolutely crazy, but speed and space, baby.
Speeds. Okay, Josh Gaddis. Let's hit the brakes a little. Speaking of Josh Gaddis, rumor has slept with Xavier Worthy's mom while we're at it. But hey, we're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
I like it. I think our offense would be absolutely elite. Jared Goff, no excuses. You didn't have excuses last year. I'm not blaming Jared Goff for why we lost, but you have Ferraris all around you with that pick. Like, everyone's going to be looking at you like, hey, you want that $50 million contract? I can't give you a better offense than what I've given you right here. So, I mean, Xavier Worthy just ran a 4.21, set the combine record. All you have to do is get him the ball.
That's it.
That's my only concern, because we have that concern with Jamison Williams. Just get him the ball. We know what he can do when he has it in his hands. Cornerback's nightmare, safety's nightmare. I don't know how you sleep soundly on a Saturday night when you got to play that offense on Sunday morning.
Yeah, and then don't mess around. And if he doesn't have enough arm talent to give him the ball, maybe we give Hendon a look.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm not saying that's what I want.
All right.
But I'm just saying. If we might have to throw it up top and give Hendon a look.
With those weapons, we got some coworkers we could throw back there at quarterback who could be very productive.
That's what I would think.
But
who'd you select?
I like it. I'd give yours an A+. I like it if it happens. I would a different route. It's going to be hard to change my mind. My mind's pretty much locked in pending free agency. But as it sits today, I'm going with Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker from Texas A&M. Speed. I'm sick of watching opposing teams' quarterbacks go out and run for days on us, not being able to stop a PA boot from a quarterback, letting quarterbacks like Brock Purdy get loose. We've hinted at this coming year's schedule. We don't know the order, but we know who we play. We have a lot of mobile quarterbacks that we have to match up with, not even only just our division, our conference, the NFL in general. We play a lot of mobile quarterbacks in 2024. So we need to get ready. We need to speed up this defense, make their night a living hell. And I'm going with Edgerrin Cooper. It's going to be hard to get me off that in the first round.
Steve, you already know how I feel about Edgerrin. It's an A+ for me. The only reason why I didn't select him is because I've seen some other guys in this draft that I feel like they're not Edgin Coopers. Let's not get it twisted. They're not Edgin Coopers, but I feel like they can contribute to this team. And I don't know that we can get the same weapon that we can get at pick 29 that we can get, or at pick 61 that we can get at pick 29. So that's kind of where could I get something comparable later on in the draft to a Edgerrin Cooper's speed to chase down these quarterbacks and then still have my cake and eat it too and get an Xavier Worthy? That's the only reason why I went the route that I did. But I give you an A+ as well. Edgerrin Cooper on our team, I would be celebrating.
Honorable mention, and I'm not doing an honorable mention for every round, but I really did have to sit and think for a second with my first round pick. Do you take Braden Fisk here at 29?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to be mad if they do. But Edgerrin Cooper, I think he's just more of a game wrecker. And I take that back. Braden Fisk is a game wrecker too. So that's my honorable mention. We're not going to do that for every round. But what'd you do in round 2, pick 61?
At pick 61, man, it was Christmas morning for me. This is a guy that I really like. I've talked about how Dallas Turner, he's a beast, but there was a guy who played opposite side of him that was pretty darn good, and that's who I went with, Chris Braswell. I think he's just an underrated player, man. I think he fits all of the traits of the Detroit culture. I think he's a guy that would come in and show the world, hey, I wasn't just Robin to Batman. Maybe we had Batman and Batman. And I think it would be great at a pick 61 to have him fall into our laps. It solves some of our edge rush issues.
Pass rushers, we need them. We need them desperately. We need reliable ones. Chris Braswell, solid player out of Alabama. I like it. I'm not ever going to knock anyone who can come in and rush the passer because I think we really lack in that category, that and secondary. But we're going to get to that in a second. But a bad secondary can be covered up by an elite pass rush. If the Detroit Lions just beef up this D line, beef up this front seven, get some guys with some speed, get after the quarterback, just be fast. Just be fast.
Yeah.
Just wreck the game. I like it. What I did is I was a little disappointed Braden Fisk had such a phenomenal combine because I thought he might be here at 61, and he was. But I had to say it's not realistic that he's going to be here at 61. He's not going to fall this late in the second round. He's probably going to be the second, maybe the first defensive tackle taken. So I had to step out of my emotions and say, I'm going to take Rook Aroa, who I have practiced your name so you know I'm high on you because I have been butchering that for a long time.
Well done.
And he's not a poor man's Braden Fisk. He's every bit of what Braden Fisk can do. Very similar. Elite speed, very raw. Interior defensive line is where we need a little help too, a little depth, cycle some of these guys in and out. But I wish Braden Fisk was there, but I'm not going to be mad if Rook is the pick in round 2.
Man, I love the pick, hometown guy. I actually just found out while I was at that coaching clinic in Pittsburgh that Rook went to Trillium Academy, where one of my buddies that I coach with teaches. So shout out to that, man. It's pretty cool. I would love to have him on the squad, man. Maybe we get some little inside action.
Hey, maybe we
And
get
then
him
bring
in
him
the
in.
Detroit Den episode.
Maybe we get him into the Detroit Den. That would be pretty cool as well. But yeah, we both been high on him, man, for a long time. And if he slipped to us to 61 and we drafted him, I would love it. And you got another one, man. A salute to you. Great pick.
What you doing in round 3? I think we're on the same page in round 3.
Round
if I'm not mistaken.
3. So listen. Another guy we've did shows about. I couldn't believe that he was there, but I do think that there's a world where he's a little bit raw enough to be there. I don't know if his 40 time ran him out of this position, but Max Melton. You talk about a guy who's going to come in and immediately meet all of the traits of the Detroit Lions physical football nature, grit, toughness. He is going to come up and tackle. Did you see what Deshaun Townsend said the other day about what he's thinking, what he's looking out of his defensive backs?
No, I didn't.
Guys that can tackle, guys that will come up and hit. After playing all those years in Pittsburgh, man, I think that he's gonna bring that iron curtain mentality, man, our steel curtain mentality, hard-nosed, blue collar, just like we are in Detroit. And Max Melton definitely fits all of that. He comes from an NFL pedigree, Division I pedigree. Both parents Rutgers graduates, and his brother's playing for the Green Bay Packers, Bo. So yeah, man, I just think that he's going to come into this league, and he's definitely going to be a solid contributor. How you feel about it?
So I did the same thing in round 3, just so everyone's aware. I'm not going to put the picture back up. I went with Max Melton as well. Our only pick I think we got together.
I believe
When I
so.
look at his combine and I look at his tape, it matches up. That's all it is. I
Mhm.
mean, he's a bulldog. He's going to go out and tackle. He's going to go out and cover. At the combine, he ran all of the drills very, very smoothly. I don't remember exactly what his 40 time was. I could sit here and look on my notes.
4.39.
4.39. All right,
Yep.
there you go. You guys, I've seen some people in the comments saying we need a 4.3 corner. There you go. Max Melton, big, physical, stops the run, not afraid to tackle. Um, Brad Holmes guy, Dan Campbell guy. I mean,
Mhm.
I like it. If he's there in round 3, we need a corner. A plus. Obviously, it's an A plus because you stole my pick, so it's kind of a no brainer. But I'll tee us off for round. What is it? This is the second pick in round 3, pick 92.
Pick 92.
Very familiar with this kid. We know him in and out. We've watched him play. Mikey Sanders still.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
you guys are probably wondering where's Mike going to play? If we draft Max Melton, we have Cam Sutton, Brian Branch. Mike Sanders still is insurance. He can play corner. He can play nickel. If Brian Branch gets hurt, you can throw Mike Sanders still in right there. I don't think there's much of a drop off, if any at all. If one of the other two corners, Max Melton, goes down, or if we sign someone in free agency, or Cam Sutton gets injured, you can throw Mike Sanders still in there. He's not a number 1 corner, but he's serviceable enough for 3 or 4 games,
Yeah.
what kind of injury you're dealing with. I like him as a nice backup and an insurance plan. And I think he could even get some solid starting time, but he's just a Swiss Army knife on defense. He could play either corner. He might even be able to play safety. I wouldn't put that past him. So just an all around defensive back. That's what he is. He's not a safety. He's not a nickel. He's not a corner. He can play. I think he could play anywhere in the defensive backfield.
I think he might be a little bit light in the butt to play safety, but I will say this: he is a Swiss Army knife. And Steve, we're living in a world to where Kendall Dorsey or Kendall Vildor and Dorsey, our kick returner was out there playing corner for us. So I mean, we got a guy that got cut and a special teamer that was playing significant snaps at the cornerback position for us, cornerback 2, and then a cornerback 1 that struggled a little bit for the second half of the season. So I think that an insurance policy is definitely in need for us. I think we do probably sign Emmanuel Mosley back to a 1-year deal. Who knows how he's going to heal up, but you never know what these guys, man. The NFL it's a violent game, and he would be. I give that pick, man. I think it's a good pick. I think it's a good pick to give us depth. I think that's one of the things that saved us last year. Some of the depth pieces that we had on this team and guys that could bounce around and, like Brad Holmes says, be defensive backs, not cornerbacks or safeties.
Yeah, I don't think like I can throw him at any position and say, hey, this is your position for 18 games. I think I can just kind of shuffle Mike Sanders still around wherever I need him, depending on injuries. Someone's going to get banged up. Someone's going to miss a game. You throw Mike Sanders still in there, you're not even going to notice a difference. I put out a question when we talked about Mike Sanders. So was he the second greatest Michigan Wolverine defender of all time behind Charles Woodson? Has your mind changed at all?
Nope.
All right. Mine kind of has. Because I have to confess, at the time I said that, I forgot about Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh, I thought honestly, man. No, like honestly, man, I thought that you were just kind of like not keeping Aiden in the picture. Like he's a lion. Like I didn't even think that
Shame
you
on
were.
me. I'm
Yeah.
embarrassed. I'm ashamed of myself.
I told you, man. A couple people posted it that Ty
Yeah,
Law was a dog too. So I
Ty
was
Law
like,
was a dog, but
yeah.
yeah. All right. I mean, Mike
But he
Sanders.
was a beast. Like I'm not gonna take anything away from what you said, man. He is a dog, and he made some huge plays for the Michigan Wolverines. So he definitely deserves to be in a conversation. You weren't wrong there.
And real quick, one last thing about Mikey Sanders still. When they played in the national championship game, I found out, I talked about this before, it was Jalen Polk for the Washington Huskies who said in an interview, they asked him who was the most frustrating player you've ever gone against, and he said Mikey Sanders still. Because when I lined up in my position on the field, Sanders still is out there calling out routes. He's out there calling out formations, patterns, what the offense is most likely running. Like he is a smart football player. On top of that, he's got all the athletic abilities. Former receiver, can play. I wouldn't say I guess in an emergency we could use him as a wide receiver, but let's hopefully we don't get to that because he could just play anywhere. He's just a football player.
Football player.
So
Okay.
who you got at pick 92?
Pick 92, man. I went with a guy who was kind of a boomer bust guy to me. He was banged up a little bit, especially in the beginning of his career. But he has every tool you need to be successful on a football field. We talked about the Edrin Cooper pick that you had, which was an A+ pick. You know, he's an absolute dog. I didn't go that route, but I still wanted to get someone who could impact from the linebacker position, and I went with Peyton Wilson. Dog I think he ran 4.4 at the combine, I believe. He's just a tackling machine, athlete, phenomenal football player. I think that when we get these quarterbacks that are out there we need somebody to spy them because they're running around doing their thing. He's another guy that would immediately up our athleticism and speed of our team.
Absolutely. We're picking linebackers. I feel like linebacker on defense we're pretty set at. So where do you see either Edger and Cooper or a Peyton playing for the Lions? Being we have Alex Anzalone, we have Rodrigo, Barnes, Jack Campbell. Like we have two starters and then two guys who can kind of shuffle in and out. Where do you think they would play and how would they fit?
That's a good question, man. I'm glad you said that. And a couple of people have mentioned some things in the comments. The first thing that I always say is there's quite a few times that we have, three linebackers out there on the field, whether we are playing one at rush and two in the middle of the field, or we have three back there at the linebacker level. There's quite a few snaps where we have three linebackers. Jack Campbell was really trying to develop into a guy who could rush off the edge. His size screams that the potential of him being a defensive end, but he, for whatever reason, that's not something that he does well yet. And when they tried to play him at that position last year, just to be honest, he struggled a little bit, but he's a rookie, he's a puppy, and he's trying to figure it out. I think that could be something that we could go back to. Do we play him at that position and do we sub in speed? You know what I mean? Or do we take out maybe a Barnes and go Anzalone and Peyton? You know what I mean? Or do we take, because I don't think that Rodrigo is the answer. If I love Rodrigo. You know, I'm a huge Rodrigo fan. Great guy. Guy plays football like it's supposed to be played. But if he's on the field, I think that we're kind of in a situation to where we're not in a good space at the linebacker position if we're trying to be elite. Now, if we're trying to put guys out there that are tough that can, be serviceable, absolutely, he could definitely do that. The dude can play. He's a football player. Put him at fullback, put him at linebacker, put him on special teams. The dude's going to go out there and give you everything that he has. Hats off to him. But if we really want to make that position elite, we got to compete with the San Franciscos of the world and have speed out there. Or the Baltimore Ravens of the world, speed out there. Quarterbacks aren't running around against these teams, man, and feeling real comfortable. They want to know where those linebackers are at all times. I think that he would immediately, again, we get guys that are fast. We get a Max Milton out there in the draft. We get a Peyton Wilson out there in the draft. It's going to immediately up the speed of this defense. And do we re-sign Anzalone when his contract's up, or do we let it naturally turn over to the guy that we select in this draft?
Yeah, we could just be drafting Peyton Wilson for depth. I like everything you said about Rodrigo, probably a fan favorite, but if you take your fandom aside, if you look at what he does on the football field, he's probably a special teamer, which he could be very well at. He could be the next Jalen Reeves-Maben. He could be the next Germ. He's gone out there and played fullback. He's caught a pass. He's a football player. You put him where you need him. I don't think we need him at linebacker. I don't think he hurts the team, but I think he's definitely, like, I know he had the interception in the NFC Championship, but big picture, I think we could upgrade his position. Yeah, move him to special teams, fullback when we need to run those types of formations. He's a football player and he's athletic enough. I mean, I think he could grow into a fullback role / special teamer and be very, very well and have a nice long career.
Great.
Where are we at? Pick
163.
I guess I'll take this one because you just went first. All right. This is a guy that I have had on my radar. I have not had the opportunity to do a full episode dedicated just to him. Not a household name. I heard about him just because of how massive he is. And you guys are probably sitting here wondering, like, Steve, you ever going to, fix the offensive line in this mock draft? Absolutely, I am. Mason McCormick from South Dakota State. 6'5", around 315. Massive man, mauler, fits into that guard position, solidifies that Jonah Jackson role, keeps the train moving, pass the buck, just take over, won't even know he's on the football field. Probably a day one starter.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, I'll be flat out honest. You mentioned him to me. I haven't really dug deep into him. I would love if we could get a guy right in that area that could come in and immediately contribute, but I'd have to do some more digging before I really spoke to him at length. But I will say, um, we definitely need to figure out what we're going to do with that position. Are we re-signing Jonah? Are we going to go get someone in free agency, or do we need to address it with this draft? But I do worry if we address it during the draft and we don't address it in with either pick 29 or pick 61, are we potentially taking this offensive line down a notch?
God, I hope not, because we can't have Goff running for his life.
I agree.
The offensive line is the heart and soul of the team. The offense goes as the offensive line goes. So if Mason McCormick takes over for who am I thinking? Jonah Jackson. If he takes over for Jonah Jackson, I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler like Jonah Jackson was, but I just think he's going to be a serviceable starter. I think that's really all we need. Just go out there, don't mess up. Like you're playing on essentially a line with 2, maybe 3 Hall of Famers. Like they're going to coach him up as well. They're going to get him right. Like player coaches, we got one of the best offensive line coaches in the world, and Hank Fraley. So we're going to be just fine. I think Mason McCormick, just a nice serviceable starter. Probably never going to make a Pro Bowl, but we don't really need him to.
Yeah.
What do you got at 163?
This is where it's going to get a little bit dicey for some people, and I don't give a darn, man. I don't give a darn.
People, please be nice to Will, please.
Yeah. You don't have to be nice to me. Tell me I'm an idiot, man. I'll be an idiot, and I'll stand out on an island by myself, naked and not afraid. Like, bottom line. At pick 163, I'm drafting, and it's not clickbait. It's not trying to comment bait or whatever. It's just how I personally feel. I'm drafting Joe Milton from Tennessee, ex-Michigan Wolverine. If you believe in arm talent, then you draft Joe Milton. Now, why am I drafting him? Because I heard all types of crazy things. I'm not drafting Joe Milton to come in and replace Jared Goff or Hendon Hooker. It's not why I'm drafting him. I'm drafting him because he has special arm talent. Not kind of good, not kind of strong. The dude threw the ball at the NFL Combine 70 yards in the air, right? Multiple times. He did it multiple times, and he was doing it without grunting, without straining. He was flicking that ball out there, and it was super easy. The guys, if you know anything, if you're most of our viewers are Detroit Lions fans, and they double over as either Michigan Wolverine fans or Michigan State or one of the teams or whatever. Even if you're a Michigan State fan, you're probably familiar with Joe Milton at his time with the Wolverines, and it wasn't great. I'm not an idiot. I got eyeballs. I can evaluate football. We're not here because we're dumb, but you can't deny the power behind his arm. So combine that with the fact that he went to Tennessee with Hendon Hooker. Did we draft Hendon Hooker to be a backup for his whole career and never play a down as a starter? Highly doubtful, right? You guys have said that in the comments. Highly doubtful. We drafted Hendon Hooker for a reason. Okay, why wouldn't you want to give him a warm and fuzzy with a guy that he's already familiar with, a guy that has special upside potentially? Do I think that he's going to come in and be a starter in the NFL anytime soon? No, I don't. But do I think that having elite arm talent on our practice squad, we bring in guys like Martinez, we bring in dudes off the street from the grocery store, and you guys are freaking out about me saying that we should take Joe Milton and draft him to be on our practice squad, have a warm and fuzzy with Hendon Hooker, a familiar face with him as he transitions. And if we transition from Jared Goff and Hendon Hooker is our guy and Joe Milton is our backup who's had 1, 2, 3 years to develop, and Hendon Hooker gets banged up and has to go out for a game, and now this guy has sat behind Jared Goff and watched, now sat behind Hendon Hooker and watched for a few seasons. Now he has an opportunity to play for a week to put a Band-Aid on this thing to get us a victory so we can get Hendon Hooker back in the game. That doesn't make sense. That makes me dumb. You guys are nuts. I'll sit on this island by myself if I have to, but I would draft Joe Milton anywhere 5, 6, or 7 if he's still there, and get that guy on this team, and let's see what happens. Maybe it never turns into anything but a warm and cozy for our future starting quarterback potentially, or maybe it does turn into something. Steve, how do you feel about it?
William,
go ahead.
I'm not gonna say I like the pick. I like Joe Milton's talent. You're absolutely right about all the things he can do. I question his short game. You chuck the ball a mile, so could Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
He could chuck him out. If he's in the NFL, there's only probably one other guy who can compete with him in arm strength, and it's Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
My issue is where we are today with a window open. And I get it. You're looking for the future, Jared Goff. I understand all that. But today, in the 5th round, you're going to be drafting a guy that's not even going to dress on Sundays. With the quarterback rule, he'll be in street clothes unless there's an emergency quarterback situation.
So wait. Are you saying that he'll be doing the same thing as Broderick Martin?
Yes, and you know how I feel about Broderick Martin too. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Broderick Martin because he was drafted in the 3rd round, and I think you can still get starters in the 3rd round. We're talking the 5th round, but it's the same situation on Sundays. Is he's not going to be dressing. So drafting a quarterback 3, I think is what people are going to have the issue with. But I do get the long-term picture. If we do move on from Jared Goff and you just kind of pass the buck down to Hendon Hooker, Joe Milton becomes quarterback 2. I like him as a quarterback 2, but on this roster right now as it sits today, I just personally don't see it as a need. And it's not the pick. Like, I mean, and before everyone jumps on my ass too, because I know they're going to get you. I said the same thing when Kenneth Walker was coming out from Michigan State. Someone said, would you like to have Kenneth Walker? And I said, not at running back 3 in the 2nd round. Like, how many carries is he going to get? 3 or 4? Oh, you're just saying that because you hate Michigan State. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's depth. Like, Kenneth Walker is probably going to be a starter. He's a damn good running back. Why would I want him on the Lions when I have at the time Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift? Like, he's going to be running back 3. I just think of it as the same type of situation where Joe Milton, yeah, great talent, great traits. Question is short game, but he's just not even going to be dressing on Sundays is the only issue. And I think that's what people are going to be upset about.
Yeah, I completely understand that assessment too, and I'm cool with seeing the other side of the coin, man. I have no issue with other people having opinions, but to say I'm clickbaiting you or I'm an idiot, man, like,
well, clickbait is, if we put Joe Milton on the thumbnail and put the title Joe Milton, the future of the Detroit Lions, we're not doing that. So if you guys are watching this episode, this is really what Will's opinion. That's the good thing about sports. This is what he thinks. What I think, I just said I disagree with it. We can do it in a respectful way. So we're not clickbait, comment bait, whatever. I've heard a lot of things the last couple of days.
And bottom line too, because that's what they typically just leave that nasty comment and then go on about their day, man. They don't even
crickets.
They don't give us any supporting information to go with it, and then when we request it, there's nothing to be said. So guys, we're completely down with having discussions about stuff. If you don't agree with what we're saying, that we love that. That's why we're here to
sports is about.
Yeah, this is to talk about what we love. Talk sports, man, and talk about your opinion, our opinion, and maybe we all learn something or look at something differently and still don't agree, but we have fun in our disagreement, politely.
Where we're at 207 round 6, so we're wrapping it up.
Yep.
So round 6.
I think it's on me.
Go ahead. Oh, you just did the Joe Milton one. I'll take this one.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, you might.
I thought you went first last time.
Oh well, I'll just throw mine out there. Round 6. I might be reaching here, but we need a kicker. Joshua Carty, the kicker from Stanford. Look, yeah, I mean, it's a kicker. It's not sexy. Does Dan Campbell use a kicker? No. Does this give him a better option to use a kicker? Yes. That's really what it comes down to. I think this kid will be the first kicker taken. That's why I'm taking him in round 6 if he's available. I really hope he is. I feel like 6 is like the range where people start to draft their kickers. Look, this kid's got a leg. He's better than the Money Badger. It's an upgrade at kicker. I know we just re-signed Badgley. There's no saying you can't cut him in training camp. Save a few bucks. Sign this kid, draft him. He's an upgrade. Dan, please learn how to use him, learn what his position does. When he comes onto the field, the center's going to snap the ball to the holder. He's going to kick it through the uprights, and it's 3 points. It's 1 point after a touchdown. That's how kicking works.
I'm glad you let him know, man, because I think he knows, a lot about football. I don't think he's very familiar with that kicking game, man.
Steve Perkins, career special teamer. I can teach you everything you need to know.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. I absolutely love the pick. I think that out of all the kickers that's coming out this year, he may not have the biggest leg, but I felt like he was the most consistent, and we need somebody that can just knock in those 40-yarders and 50-yarders and be consistent with it. I think he's the type of kicker that can do it. So good pick.
Yeah. What do you got at 207?
I'm not sure that he'll be there or not, man. He might be a 4 or 5 guy, but he was there, and I took Renardo Green from Florida State. He's just a good corner, man. Like, he's not sexy, he's not flashy, as all my young players say. He's not super drippy, but he's just a guy that does his job. He's got great ratings. He's not going to run a 4.240. He's not going to be, 6'2", but he's a guy that you probably 2-3 years from now, he might sneak in and be playing a cornerback too, and just getting his job done week in and week out, and people are just wondering how it happened.
You don't think he's a day one starter?
I don't think he's a day one starter, no. Yeah, I don't think he's a day one starter, but I do think that he's a guy that could definitely contribute. You thinking he's a day one starter?
I think he's on the fringe. I think he's real close. He played in the ACC, Florida State. He went up against two fucking beasts from his own team. Iron sharpens iron. Keon Coleman and who's that kid that is like 6'6"? What's his Johnny Walker or something?
Yeah, Wilson.
Johnny Wilson. Johnny Walker. I'm thinking of the bourbon. I wish, yeah. He goes against those guys every day in practice. He's the number one corner from Florida State. We've done an episode purely just on him too. If you guys want to go check that out, I think it was about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. If you want to scroll through some of our older videos, we kind of did more of an in-depth breakdown on him. But solid. I think he might be day one starter just because the cornerback 2 position in Detroit is pretty awful. That's the only thing saving. Like on another team, I don't think he's day one starter, but for the Lions, I think so.
I don't know, man. Both of us drafted Max Milton.
Well, that's true.
Over Max Milton?
No, I don't. He's not starting over Mikey Sanders still for me either. So
yeah. So I mean, that's the bottom line. I think that we're going to go out and get that day one starter, or the person who's going to get that first day one starter look. I know ultimately we're going to play the guy who plays the best, but we're going to give the guy that we drafted early every opportunity to lose the job before we would go that route. But I definitely think that he's going to be a guy that contributes. Ooh, spilling the beans early.
Spill the beans.
So let's let you float in. Let's let you flow. We're going 247. What you got?
Well, I kind of teased it because I got John Baptiste, the kid from very familiar with him. I believe he was a 5-star recruit when he came to Ohio State. Highly recruited. Didn't work out. Ohio State's D-line the last 3 or 4 years has been pretty loaded. They're putting talent in the league regularly. He didn't fit with them. Transferred to Notre Dame, had a decent season, but against Ohio State this past year, he was an impact player. He was playing with a chip on his shoulder against his former team. I think he's got all the talent to be. He reminds me of I don't want to say that, I'll get nailed and I'm not ready for it. He's going to be a very, very good defensive end if he gets the right coaching. We just brought in Terrell Williams from the Tennessee Titans. Some people say he's one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL.
I know Dan Campbell says that.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good because Terrell Williams had a damn good defensive line with the Tennessee Titans. So if you get a kid with former 5-star talent who just kind of didn't find his way with Ohio State, had a decent season with Notre Dame, I'm not saying day one starter, but I think he'd be a nice rotational guy. I think he makes the team out of training camp, unlike Antoine Green last year, who we didn't even really see on a field more than 4 or 5 times. But I like his talent. I think he needs some good coaching. And that's really the only question mark. I'm willing to roll the dice and give a 7th round pick for him.
Listen, man, the first things first, the disrespect to Antoine Green. Are you nuts? The guy had 1 catch last season for 2 yards.
Yeah, so did Rodrigo.
He almost took it to the house. Like,
are you nuts?
Be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful on Antoine Green. Tar Heels, baby. Anyways, no, I agree, man. The kid definitely has some upside, and that's what you're looking for, these lower round or late round picks, man. You're looking for guys that have potential but haven't had success for whatever reason, be it injuries, be it lack of opportunities, whatever. So yeah, I like it. I like the pick.
Who you got? Round 7, final pick, Detroit Lions. Close it out.
I wouldn't got that kicker, man. The same as you, Cardi, man. I had to go get him. And I agree with you in the assessment of, sometimes you go grab those guys in the 6th round before guys start getting their kicker before you. Maybe that's what we'll see. And then we'll get Mr. Irrelevant down there for our 7th round pick after that. Or who knows? I truly believe Brad's going to do something in this draft. I think he's going to trade up or down. So maybe that'll be a part of that package. But I hope and pray that nothing against the Money Badger, but we at least get somebody to come in and compete with him and either push him to another level or, kind of.
Yeah, we just need some competition at kicker. And I'm not saying kickers are like quote unquote weapons, but sometimes you just got to take the points. But we're not going to go into that NFC Championship game. I can't go there again. Guys, Mock Draft 2.0. It's out. We did a full 7-round. We've never done a 7-round mock draft either. We usually do about 3 or 4 rounds where we get, some starters. But there are some guys that we've really dove into that we saw falling. If you guys have followed us long enough, you've seen us talk about some of these guys. So leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think. Who had the better draft, Steve or Will? Leave a comment. Difference of
Who do we
opinion.
miss?
What do you mean? Who do we miss?
Who do we miss?
Who do we miss in the draft? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because you guys didn't see our board on who was there. So it's hard to have that discussion. But just let us know how you think we did. Hit that like button, guys. If you're new to this channel, you're a Detroit Lions fan, you like Detroit Lions football, you like Detroit Lions entertainment, anything Detroit Lions, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a whole lot. We'll be back later with some more content.
Peace.